There we go.
All right. Hi, my name is Serafina, and thank you for coming to take part in the AS election process. I'm going to be your moderator for this evening, and I'm going to review the structure for the forum with you guys right now. So, candidates will be answering questions in this order. We're going to start off with senators, followed by commissioners, directors, vice presidents, and then finally the presidential candidates. All candidates will have 30 seconds to introduce themselves. The senator, commissioner, director, and vice president candidates will be asked 2 questions. They will each have 1 minute to respond. And then presidential candidates will be asked 2 questions as well, and they will have 1.5 minutes for each to respond. So for the candidates, we want to ensure everyone has time to speak tonight, so please stop your response time when I say so. And we are going to start off tonight with the candidates for senators. We have 6 senators who are running tonight or declared. So senators serve as a link between students in their college and university faculty, staff, and administration. The Senate will work to advise and inform university policy, communicate recommendations to the president, academic senate, and other campus policymaking entities on matters that pertain to students, student experience, student education, and other matters relevant to the welfare of the Chico State University and the student population. So we are going to start out with the College of Communication and Education. If you could please introduce yourself, you have 30 seconds to make a statement.
Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal, or some people can call me Chris. Either or is fine. I am a sophomore studying communication sciences and disorders while minoring in child development. And the reason I want to run for this position is to be a representative for this department and help with issues that I thought could help with this department for all students, especially first years and transfers.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I have 2 questions for you now. You will have 1 minute to respond to each. So first off, what specifically are issues of concern in your college, and what would be your strategies for addressing those issues?
So for me, what I've been seeing that, especially I saw in my first year last year, I saw there wasn't much communicating in the College of Communication Education. I felt like I wasn't being reached out at all. I was a lost freshman, and especially I knew a friend who was in my major that didn't know what we didn't know what we were doing or who our advisors were. So I want to be a way to let all professors and academic advisors in each department for that college to especially help first years and transfers, because I know being online is not easy, and I just want to be able to help other students learn from my mistakes and hopefully have a higher success rate with the school.
Thank you so much, Crystal. And secondly, how would you promote the concept of shared governance within your college?
Can you repeat that one time? You kind of glitched out for me.
Oh, my bad, I'm sorry. How would you promote the concept of shared governance within your college?
For me, it's just even just having meetings or just talking in general, seeing what could be done right or what we need to fix and everything in all departments. Not every major is the same, so I think just comparing or contrasting with each other, seeing what needs to be fixed.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to be moving on to the College of Engineering, Computer Science, and Construction Management. There are no declared candidates at this time for the senator of the College of... I'm so sorry, but if there are any write-ins, you have your time to introduce yourself now. Okay, then we are going to move on to the College of Humanities and Fine Arts. There are also no declared candidates for this college, but if you are a writing candidate, now is your time to introduce yourself. Okay, then we will move on to the College of Natural Sciences. If you are a candidate in this category, please introduce yourself. You each have 30 seconds.
Hi, I'm James Lawrence. I'm currently a 3rd-year student here at Chico State. I'm pursuing a degree in biology, and I've got minors in chemistry and biochemistry. I've had the privilege to chair the College of Natural Sciences Student Organizations Committee for almost a year now, and I serve as vice president in one of the Biology Honor Society clubs, where I've had the opportunity to go about and facilitate inter-club connections, both through my position in the student council and through my position with as vice president. So if elected, my intention is to provide opportunities like this on a broader scale, implement systems so that students can amplify their voices and
Time.
provide.
All right, then we will move on to questions. Thank you so much for introducing yourselves, James. What specifically are issues of concern in your college, and what would your strategies be for addressing these issues?
I think the largest issue at hand is the issue of intimidation in a STEM major. I think when you get here first, it's a little overwhelming. You show up in classes with 100+ students, and you can feel like you're up to your neck in water. So I think the first thing I would do to address that issue is implement a STEM mentorship program where we take upper division juniors and seniors, upperclassmen, and pair them with a freshman who is looking to get mentorship from someone who is experienced in the College of Natural Sciences and possibly has a similar career goal. I know this would be really beneficial for our pre-meds, pre-vets, people that are looking into getting to graduate programs like MS and PhD programs. And I think this is really the biggest issue that we've got, that factor of intimidation and helping people realize that, this place is going to be your home for the next 4 years. It should feel like that.
Thank you so much. And how would you promote the concept of shared governance within your college?
I would continue the trend that the previous senator had implemented. She had the foresight to implement a student council within the College of Natural Sciences, which I think was a wonderful idea. It's provided student leadership opportunities for a number of students. I think there are currently 15 or so students that sit on the council representing various departments and different committees. I would continue that trend. I would basically broaden the opportunities available and implement more positions to try to expand the reach of student government and provide more leadership opportunities for students within the college.
Thank you so much for your time. All right, we are now going to be moving on to the College of Agriculture. You each have 30 seconds to introduce yourselves.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to start off by saying my name is Tyler Jenkins. I'm currently a third-year agriculture education major, pronouns he, him, his. There are 2 more candidates for this position, but I believe they're having technical difficulties, so be sure to check them out too. But my campaign is centered around enhanced academic collaboration, preaching acceptance, equity, and inclusivity, and just being sure that I can serve as an approachable and transparent voice for all Wildcat students, even for students who have an undeclared major and don't have a representative on the student senate. I would love to be that voice for them. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope to earn your vote tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Tyler. All right, and for your questions, we are going to continue with the theme we have tonight. What are specifically some issues of concern in your college, and what would your strategies be for addressing those issues?
I would say definitely one area of concern relating back to my topic of inclusivity and equity. I think the word inclusivity is often overused in the College of Agriculture and tends to lose meaning sometimes. So I'd love to bring meaning back to that word in the College of Ag. And I will do this by kind of developing an anonymous survey where students can be honest and raw with their emotions and talk about a time where they felt excluded, neglected, or pushed aside in a College of Ag class, and maybe give us some insight as to why that happened, whether that be gender identity, orientation, color, creed, religion, all of the above. Just making way for an equitable education for all Wildcats and, of course, students in the College of Agriculture. And also, I think a new challenge that we're all going to have to face next semester is safely re-socializing our students. So similar to what James has proposed for his college, creating a mentorship between an experienced student with a first-year student, whether right out of high school or a transfer student, making that partnership hopefully a lifelong connection, talk about their projects, goals, aspirations after Chico State, and just creating more bonds within the college. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your time. As Tyler said, the other candidates for the College of Agriculture are not present tonight with us. So we are going to move on to the College of Behavioral and Social Sciences, my bad. You each have 30 seconds to introduce yourselves.
Hi, Wildcats. My name is Katie Chai, but just to let you know that on the ballot, it'll be as Catherine Chai, because that's my real name. So I am running for the Senator of the College of Behavioral and Social Sciences, and I'm majoring in political science legal studies with a minor in psychology, and I'm so excited to be running. And my main reason for running, honestly, is to be a voice for all students, especially during coronavirus. I know it's really hard to find communication and get your voice heard, but I want everyone to know that if elected, I'm here for you. I'm your confidant, I'm your friend, and I'm here to listen to you, hear suggestions, complaints, whatever you have. I'm just, one Zoom away. So thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. What specifically are issues of concern in your college, and what would your strategies be to address those issues?
Well, first off, I believe that a main issue I would say for our college is communication and lack of motivation within students. I know that for me personally, I've had to wait days and sometimes I don't even get emails back from teachers. And I know that's specifically so hard right now because we are all online. So I think that also encourages students to kind of give up in a sense and be less motivated, which I think is really sad to see. And I know this is a new world for us, so we're all trying to adapt, but that's definitely a big issue I found. And one way I would really love to try to fix that and challenge that is by sending out like Google Forms or some sort of survey for students to take, even teachers and professors to take as well, kind of just checking up on everyone, making sure that, we're staying focused and just really emphasizing communication and just to foster our learning experience, especially because we are all on Zoom. And I know a lot of the political science, personally for me, I know a lot of the political science classes are going to be online. So for fall 2021. So it's really tough. And I think we all need to work together to emphasize communication and get students motivated within our schools. Thank you.
All right, the second question is, how would you promote the concept of shared governance within your college? And I'm so sorry, Tyler, I realized I skipped asking you this question. So you each have a minute where we respond, and we're gonna go Tyler first and then Katie.
Sorry, could you ask the question one more time? I apologize.
Of course. How would you promote the concept of shared governance within your college?
Yeah, I think it's referencing back to my point of introducing that survey about acceptance and making sure students aren't excluded, taking that data and presenting it to faculty. I think that would be best done in having a meeting with key professors from each subject area in the College of Ag, as well as including some students to be part of that conversation. So they are ensured that their voices are being heard and not kind of just put into the void, if you will. Additionally, in the College of Agriculture, we currently have ICC meetings for Interclub Council every month. So being sure that these meetings are more than just checking in with my clubs, making sure that I'm providing all of their resources, getting their names out, making sure that they have proper recruitment, and having them give advice back to me. What can I do for them? How can I help better their connections to the college and the rest of the university? Giving these students, faculty, and my peers alike a voice in my position and in the College of Ag. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And moving on to Katie.
Okay, so first off, I would really like to have meetings within all departments just to kind of discuss what Chico State like problems or successes, and also just to really check in on student life because obviously students make up the college. And I would also really want to emphasize joining clubs and getting yourself out there because I think clubs and organizations and committees are a really good way to put yourself out in your college and emphasize just a very like good learning experience. And I also really want to emphasize students' voices because in Chico as a whole, not just in my college, I've found like a lot of diversity problems going on and people feeling as if their voices aren't being heard. And that's really like upsetting for me too, to kind of see that. And I've experienced like stuff in Chico, people asking, just inappropriate questions for a stranger to ask. So I really want students to know that I'm here for you no matter what, and your voice means something. It really does. And you have the power to use that voice. So I think emphasizing that and just making sure students are heard is very important and should be a definite thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for answering that. All right, next up we have the College of Business. There are no declared candidates for the senator position at this time, but if we have any writing candidates, now is your time to speak. All right, then we will be moving on. I'd like all candidates for the Commissioner and Community Affairs to come forward. And again, thank you so much for all the candidates for senators for speaking up. I really appreciate you guys answering all my questions. All right, the Commissioner of Community Affairs chairs the Community Affairs Council and then is a voting member of the Government Affairs Committee. The Commissioner acts as a liaison to the community agencies and attends City Council meetings to foster the town and gown relationship. We do not have a present candidate for this position at this time, but if there are any writing candidates, now is your time to speak. All right, then I would like to call forward all candidates for Commissioner of Legislative Affairs to come forward.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Davis. I'm running to be your next Commissioner of Legislative Affairs. I'm currently a sophomore here at Chico State. I'm majoring in sociology and criminal justice with a minor in gender and sexuality studies. And I've been serving on the Legislative Affairs Committee for 2 years now. And this past fall, I was elected as vice chair of the organization, and that is now the current position that I'm holding.
Thank you so much. My first question for you is the California State Student Association is a lobbying component for the CSU Chico students on statewide issues. What issues do you want to make a top priority for the CSSA if you were elected, and why?
So the California State Student Association has endorsed several forms of legislation that I would like to continue my work in advocating for their presence on our campus. And one of these would be extending the number of students who would be eligible for CalFresh benefits. I believe that having access to good and nutritional food should be a right for all students to have. So that is something that I would like to continue my work in advocating for. And another thing would be expanding our school's mental health resources. I think that we need to have more counselors on our campus, and students should have easier access to being able to meet with these counselors and have good conversations with these counselors so they're able to share their feelings and feel as though their voices are being heard on our campus.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, I would now like to ask all the candidates for Commissioner of Student Engagement and Advocacy to come forward. And I'm going to do a brief description of what this role entails. The Commissioner of Student Engagement and Advocacy chairs the Campus Engagement Council and is a voting member of the Government Affairs Committee. This position focuses on outreach to students and student organizations. All right, each of you, of the two writing candidates we have here tonight, have 30 seconds to introduce yourself. Please start.
Talafalava Wildcats. My name is Kiko Fujii. I more commonly go by Kiku. My pronouns are she, her, and I am running for the Commissioner of Student Engagement and Advocacy, something that I really want to put a very strong emphasis on as this semester being our first semester back from a pandemic, is doing it as safe as possible, following CDC guidelines, as well as guidelines provided by the county of Butte. And especially not only looking at that safety aspect of things, but also just looking at the engagement, especially being the president of an org here on campus. Just getting that membership up was really hard during the pandemic. And we really want to make sure that our student organizations are getting the members and the bodies that they want and need in that organization to do the work that they really want to do. So yeah, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Megan Oliver. I'm a second-year RHPM and political science major here at Chico State, and I'm running for the Commissioner of Student Engagement and Advocacy. What really pushed me to run for this role is I just genuinely want to be a voice for all students at Chico State. I want to boost student engagement in every single group on campus, whether that's a multicultural group, Panhellenic, or fraternities, just anything. I want students to be involved. I want them to have the best college experience they can have by joining as many clubs as they can and being involved and really showing everyone what a Chico State student really is. And yeah, just really getting involved in campus and boosting that engagement between every single group of students. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I also realized I skipped another question for Michelle. So before I get to your guys' questions, I'm going to ask her one more and then we'll circle back to you. So Michelle, what is a priority for you if you are elected in this role?
So I think one of my main priorities in this role would be to help more of our students become further involved within our country's political process. I know that as young adults, the process of voting can be sometimes very daunting. So I want to help students register to vote and teach them what's going to be on the ballot so that they can feel more confident about showing up to the polls, showing up to the elections, and feel as though that they are informed voters who know exactly what they will be seeing on the ballot and feel good about what they are casting as their vote.
Thank you so much, and I apologize for skipping over you once again. All right, now we will go back to the candidates for Commissioner of Student Engagement and Advocacy. Your guys' first question is, why do you think it is important for students to get involved, and how would you help students connect or find potential groups that would provide meaningful experiences for them? If you could please answer in the order that you already spoke.
So I think that being engaged on campus is incredibly important, especially as being a woman of color. You know, when I came to this campus, I thought that demographics were just a number, but seeing them in person was a lot different. So it was very hard for me to find that group where I felt at home, but finding the Pacific Islanders Club really helped me with that. And I definitely think that moving away from home is going to be hard for anyone, you know, if you're leaving where you're originally from to go to school. So being able to connect those students with an organization that fits with their ideals is really important to help them find a place to be rooted here in the community as well.
I think what's super important about joining student organizations is that it's not only good for us to get out there and meet new people, but it's so important for our mental health as well. I think it's so important to really become engaged on campus with groups because we need our mental health to be our main priority throughout college. And a lot of the times college students have a really hard time maintaining that. And so I think having students become engaged and advocating for them is the most important thing we need to do as an associated student body. I think that no matter what club or group you want to be a part of, there's ways to help students find those. And for me personally, I plan to create an event where we're able, like Clubtacular, where students are able to see those groups. I want to be able to see students work one-on-one with these groups on how they can engage more with them and how they can become a part of those easier, and give the groups tips on having students join and having students like really get the resources that they're looking for out of those groups. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we only have 4 or 5 years in college and we want to make those times as memorable as we can. So joining multicultural groups or just student organizations is so important because it really helps boost our mental health and it really just makes us have a better college experience all in all. Thank you.
Thank you both. Your second question is one from Chico State students we have here live in the YouTube chat. It is from Emily. It says, one of the hardest things as a leader of a student organization is knowing that what kind of resources are out there. How will you promote equity of information among all student organizations?
So definitely, I 100% agree with Emily. You know, being a leader of a student org myself, and this organization was founded my freshman year, they were not aware of all the resources. To this day, I still find out more and more about resources that are provided to organizations. And I've been a part of the re-registration process multiple semesters now. And I think that definitely right when clubs re-register, whether you're re-registering or just creating a whole new club, I definitely think that regardless, an orientation should be held at the beginning of every semester with these organizations to let them know, hey, we as AS, we as a community, and we as a college do support you as an organization and support any activities that you want to pursue. Thank you.
I definitely think the first thing I want to do in this position is work with every single group we have on campus to ensure that they're having the resources themselves to be able to bring students in and give students those resources. I think that there's so many groups we have on campus that nobody knows about. You can go on the Chico State website and see all these clubs and organizations we have that nobody's either ever heard of or they don't know how to access that. And it is so important that we as AS are giving them those opportunities and showing them that there's limitless groups and organizations that they can join. I think that I personally want to work with each and every single leader of these groups and just make sure that we're really giving students the opportunity to join the groups that are most important to them. And I think that promoting equity is just so important because all student organizations deserve the same amount of respect that the other one gets. Everyone is just as important as the other one. And I think that's important that as AS members, we're showing that. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. All right, now we are going to move on. I would like to ask all the candidates for the Commissioner of the Sustainability Affairs to come forward. This Commissioner of Sustainability Affairs offers support to the AS and its sustainability goals by developing policy proposals that promote the general health of the Earth's physical and biological environment. The Commissioner also chairs the Sustainability Affairs Council and is the Vice Chair of the Sustainability Fund Allocation Committee, also known as SFAC. This position serves as the official student representative to various sustainability-related campus committees and is a voting member of the Government Affairs Committee. Each candidate has 30 seconds to introduce themselves. Please step forward.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Borges. I'm currently a sophomore majoring in agriculture, communications, and leadership, and I'm super excited to be running for the Commissioner of Sustainability Affairs. I'm currently the senator for the College of Agriculture, and I knew I wanted to continue my journey through Associated Students because this past year has taught me so much, and I thoroughly enjoy working with every single staff, faculty, as well as student. So that's it, a little bit about me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, your first question, and you have 1 minute to answer, is what sustainability issue will take top priority for you and why?
So I don't know if there's necessarily one sustainability issue that is going to be my top priority. I definitely have a few in mind that I would like to create each of them equally. And I really want to work with my committee as well as other fellow students across all colleges, as well as staff and faculty to work on these issues all together as a group. Some of them include just like creating more education and awareness about the AS Sustainability Project, as well as like students can drop off food scraps to go towards composting, as well as creating a bike share, which is one thing that UC Davis has right now, which I think would be really interesting to incorporate within Chico State, just because the community is so tight knit and you're able to get to point A to point B in the downtown area on bike, as well as just having like safety with students to encourage them to walk and bike more to campus.
Thank you so much. Your second question is what inspires you to work on issues of environmental sustainability?
So I think coming from an agriculture perspective, I think is a really unique experience. Sustainability has something that has always been interesting to me. And I think it's really important just at the end of the day, how are we going to create a more sustainable planet? And there's just so many easy like tips and tricks that you can do throughout your day, like recycling, like dropping off food scraps for composting, having like a at-home garden. So there's so many different aspects that I like about it. And you can go in so many different avenues with sustainability. So I just really want to work with other students and to create that strong sense of education and awareness for sustainability. So overall, Chico State can become a more sustainable campus, as well as you can become more sustainable at your home or apartment, whatever you live in right now.
Thank you so much. All right, will the candidates for Director of Social Justice and Equity come forward? The Director of Social Justice and Equity will chair the Social Justice and Equity Committee. They are voting members of the ASBOD and GAC. They serve on the AS Planning Committees for the Multicultural Night and International Festival. They are responsible for representing students on matters of shared governance, transparency, free speech, and social justice. You each have 30 seconds to introduce yourselves.
Hi friends, my name is Kathleen. I also go by Kat. I want to run for this position because I'm a first generation Asian American woman, a student of color, and a member of the LGBTQ+ community. I have never felt safe, supported, or protected on this campus, and I really want to be that person for people like me and other people on this campus, especially students in our BIPOC and LGBTQ+ communities. I also was really inspired to run for this position because of Mark Thompson, who was unfortunately murdered back in 2014. Rest in power, Mark, sorry.
Hello, my name is Karina Vasquez. My pronouns are she, her, and ella. I'm a third year here at Chico, majoring in applied mathematics with a minor in political science. I'm so excited to be running for this position. What inspired me most was to experience firsthand as a first generation woman of color, Mexican American woman here on campus, the issues, and to see the change that needs to happen here on campus. I'll just cut it at that. Thank you.
Thank you both. Your first question is, being the Director of Social Justice and Equity requires that you have passion and commitment to serving communities on campus that have historically been marginalized. What steps will you take to ensure that these students know that you are here to advocate for them and ensure their voices are heard? Please answer in the order that you spoke previously.
I definitely feel like that's a deep issue for me, is uplifting the voices of our students in these marginalized communities, and kind of to see that through. I want to highlight that more on within communities that are already so I don't know how to explain it, but are already in the spotlight so much and already are taking up so much space. And I feel like giving a space, like a literal physical space to BIPOC students where they can actually feel safe, and where clubs and organizations like Students for Quality Education and like the PI Club, like FOSO, it's like I want to give them a physical space on campus where they can actually be seen and you can actually visit them and things like that. Not, oh, we rent out this room on this day just so we can meet for an hour. And that's definitely something I would want to do, as well as giving them, letting them know what the resources that they have at that apparently the school says is there for them as well.
So very similarly, as Kathleen has mentioned, I'd love to give these marginalized groups on here on campus a space as well. Well, we already have some spaces on campus, but I'd love to expand that. We already have the CCLC, the Star Center, the Safe Place, and I'd love to give defund other things on campus and allocate those monies towards these groups on campus, and give them a bigger space somewhere that's not in the first floor of the library, expand them and give them a bigger place, as she's mentioned, as well as reach out to them personally and ask them for their needs and hopefully be able to allocate those funds.
Thank you both so much. Your second question is, how will you help students become more civically engaged, both at the school-wide level and at a national level?
I feel like something that I've seen historically at Chico is that the whole entire institution has suppressed opportunities for dissent within every conversation. And I feel like just starting off with allowing people to engage in their free speech is something that I kind of feel like will relate into promoting oh, you can vote. Oh, that this is going on, this here and that. I just feel like we don't we don't tell our students enough that there are these opportunities for them that they can use. And I feel like just a way to kind of highlight that is just I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. My phone fell. But yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question? My Wi-Fi has been unstable.
Of course. How will you help students become more civically engaged, both at the school-wide level and at a national level?
Okay, so I think I would like to just reiterate to students that we practice free speech. We have to give students the platform to be able to voice their opinions on campus without any fear of anyone coming in and giving them hate or giving them I apologize for that. But such as last year when we had the little incident with the Republican, or last year, I forgot which semester it was exactly, but with the Republican Club where there was hate and then there was a fence put up. But I'd love to give students a safe platform where they could voice their opinions from either side, and as well as on a national level, and just as well as encourage students to be educated more on issues nationally, locally, and be able to just voice their opinions safely.
Thank you both so much. In the sake of time, we will be moving on to the candidates for the Director of University Affairs. Please both get ready. The Director of University Affairs sits on the AS Board of Directors and is a voting member of the Government Affairs Committee. This position reports to the Government Affairs Committee on any proposed changes in academics or administrative procedures on campus, including the Academic Senate, which is attended bi-monthly with the AS President. This officer also serves as chair for the Student Academic Senate. You each have 30 seconds to introduce yourselves.
My name is Brady Deaton. I am an ag education major and a junior here at Chico State. Just a little bit about myself. I grew up in a very small town in Northern California, and I grew up in a family of South Bay businessmen. And education was really, really important to my family because my mother and my uncles never really got to have that higher education. So education has become just a really big part of my life, and making sure others are educated. That's why I'm becoming an educator myself. Making sure others are educated is just a huge piece of me, and making sure that people are I lost my train of thought. I apologize.
No worries. Thank you so much. Your first question is, the Director of University Affairs sits on many committees for both the associated students and the university. How do you plan on balancing all your duties while accomplishing your goals in office?
I think one thing that is big for me is reaching out to students and having them and senators and having them help me reach my goals. I'm a huge believer in servant leadership. We are not here to tick a box on our resume. We are here to serve our students. And I think one of the big ways that we can serve our students is getting them involved. So there are some meetings that I may not be able to make regularly. So I want to get students involved and have them help represent themselves in these different committees and on these different boards where they can, and just get students involved in every aspect that they're able to.
Thank you so much. Your second question is a question from the YouTube Live. The Director of University Affairs is a vital role and sits on multiple councils and committees. What experience do you have advocating for students, especially marginalized students?
So I have worked in many student organizations. At Butte College, I was part of the Role Play Gamers Association, which is a new club that was on campus for students who play tabletop games. I was also an ag ambassador, and I sat as the vice chair on the Interclub Council. And on the Interclub Council, we have a lot of very big clubs at Butte College campus, and we have a lot of very small clubs on that campus. And so one of my big things was making sure that those small clubs had the funds that they needed allocated to them as well. I've also served on fair boards, and I've been a part of 4-H and FFA most of my life. FFA all 4 years high school, 4-H since I was 10 years old. And one of my big things is inclusiveness, making sure that those students that don't feel like they fit into those clubs feel involved. That's one of the big reasons I want to become an educator, is making sure those students that don't feel like they're involved in their own education or the clubs that they're involved in, making sure that they feel fully welcome and that they are feel a part of that community.
Time. All right, thank you so much. That is the last of our commissioner candidates. I want to say thank you to you all so much. You all did a great job answering your questions. Thank you for coming and participating in just the school general election process. It's very admirable. Okay, next we'll be moving on to the candidates for the vice presidents. So will all candidates for the vice president of facilities and services come forward? We don't have any declared this time, but if you are a write-in candidate, now is the time to speak up. All right, thank you. Will all the candidates for Vice President of Business and Finance come forward at this time? The VP of Business and Finance chairs the Associated Student Business Committee, which oversees the retail enterprises of all the AS. The VP of Business and Finance sits on the AS Board of Directors and is also a voting member of the Campus Fee Advisory Committee. You each have 30 seconds to introduce yourselves.
What's up, Wildcats? My name is Austin Lappick. I am your current Vice President of Business and Finance. A little bit about me. I'm a first-generation, third-year finance student here, and I have been working this entire year on trying to reform dining and parts of the Wildcat store to help better students. Apologies. I'm working on reforming dining in the Wildcat store to help better students and reflect what students' needs and wants are when it comes to our AS businesses.
Thank you so much. Your first question is, what experience do you have with budgets and financial statements, and how comfortable would you be presenting them to the board of directors?
Yeah, this entire year, I've been serving as the VP Business Finance, as I said earlier, so I've been able to present dining services, our dining services financials and our Wildcat store financials to the board of directors. And I've also worked as a VP of Finance for my fraternity, presenting and making budgets and helping report mostly weekly sometimes to our fraternity about what our financial standing is. And I am very comfortable doing that within the board of directors. If absolutely necessary, they want a very detailed financial reporting.
Thank you so much. Your second question is, as the Vice President of Business and Finance, you are responsible for the financial success of the AS businesses, but you are also an elected representative of the CSU Chico student body. How will you balance your corporate responsibilities as an AS board member with your responsibilities to represent the students and their wants as an elected officer?
Definitely. I have looked at this position all throughout this year being very unprecedented, and going into next year if I win re-election, as how can I better the students' experience, especially when it comes to dining. As some of you may know, at the marketplace, the food prices aren't as student friendly as some of them would like it to be, or they may not agree with the quality of the food that we're providing. So I've been working with the dining director on how can we better change this, going in the past surveys that the associate students in the university has done to see what do previous students, what did they want? And then looking at, can we develop a new and better survey to see what are our current students wanting and how can I develop a better future for dining to help reflect what students' needs and wants are, to help them not only help the AS make money, because that's what's necessary too, but also help the students have better quality food at better student-friendly prices.
Thank you so much for your time. Will all the candidates for Executive Vice President come forward at this time? The Executive Vice President chairs the Government Affairs Committee and sits on the Board of Directors. This position oversees operations within the Government Affairs Office and appoints members to boards, councils, and committees within the AS and in the university. You each have 30 seconds to introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Taryn Burns. I'm currently a third year at the university. I study both history education and English education. I currently serve as the senator for the College of Humanities and Fine Arts, and I chose to run for this position as a write-in because I believe it's an incredibly important role that we must have someone ready to serve their students in, because otherwise there are so many things that would be left wanting. So that is why I'm looking forward to serving as your executive vice president next year.
Thank you so much. We do have a question from the YouTube Live here. Over the years, the climate has become toxic for students. How will you stand up to administrators to address this struggle and ensure that Chico State provides a safe learning environment for everyone?
Absolutely. A safe learning environment is definitely going to be one of my top priorities. That includes mental and physical well-being, and also the simple feeling of safety on campus. Also feeling like you are being spoken to and reached out to by our faculty. Actually, today in one of my committee meetings that I was sitting on, there were conversations about online and in-person classes, and I decided that it was important for us to step forward and let them know where the students are in online, in-person dual classes. So it's important that you step up and make your voice heard and refuse to let them silence you. No matter what the issue is, it's important that they recognize that we aren't just students. We are leaders on our campus, and students rely on us to get the word out and make sure that their voices are heard as well.
Thank you. Your second question is, please describe your experience building relationships with leaders and managing a dynamic team.
Like I said, I am serving as the senator of the College of Humanities and Fine Arts right now. In that, I created a small student council in which we would discuss issues that were coming up to the Student Academic Senate in the college itself, and also within Associated Students at Large. There we would discuss those issues and then make sure that every single person had their voice heard. And then I brought that to the individual meetings at which I was sitting on. Also, forming connections with more people is one of my biggest priorities. Conversation is one of my platforms in which we have those hard discussions that we need to have in order to move forward, because every good movement starts with a conversation and goes on from there. Without that conversation where we hear each other and listen to each other, that's where things start. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Will all the candidates for president please come forward? The AS president supervises and directs the business and the offices of the AS Corporation that helps to represent the corporation on campus and statewide issues. The AS president is the chair of the board of directors. The AS president is the official representative of the corporation on campus, in the community, and with schools and organizations, and shall appoint, where appropriate, members to posts on various university boards, committees, councils, and panels. The AS president works to ensure a productive relationship with the student body, university administration, the faculty, the staff, the community, and corporate management. You each have 30 seconds to introduce yourself and make a statement.
I'll go first. Hi, hola, buenos días. My name is Jennifer Mendoza. My pronouns are she, her, and ella. I am a junior majoring in political science with legal studies, minoring in Chicanx studies. I identify as a Latinx woman, first generation college student, and part of the LGBTQIA community. I have previously served as your AS EVP, and I plan on maintaining my resilience by advocating for student issues in spaces that have not always morally and ethically acknowledged the flaws of higher education. My commitment to accountability and execution of social justice reforms is intersective in every aspect of student life, whether it is receiving an equitable education, reforming UPB, or taking care of the well-being of our students.
Hey Wildcats, my name is Ella Snyder and I'm running to be your next Associated Students President. My majors are political science, legal studies, criminal justice, social science, and psychology. I am the current Director of University Affairs and the previous Senator of the Behavioral and Social Sciences College. So being elected, this would be my third year in Associated Students. My presidential campaign focuses on the 3 core values of opportunity, motivation, and assistance. With my experienced leadership, students will be listened to, respected, supported, and advocated for in the best possible ways. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Duncan Young, and I'm running for the AS president role because I believe that my unique leadership style allows for the most voices to be heard and the most amount of work to be done for the student objectives. I think by taking more students into leadership roles and giving them the responsibility and roles that are required in order to get work done and efficiently allocate, I guess, the workload that they have so that we can really push a lot of action forward. We'll serve a lot of students in their career goals as well as serve the student body at large.
Thank you all so much. Your first question is, as the AS president, given the importance of balancing relationships and shared governments, how do you view the role of students in relation to staff, faculty, and the administration when engaging in joint decision-making? Please answer in the order that you first spoke. Yes, I can type out the question. I will put it in the chat now. Thank you. I can also repeat it while I'm doing that. As the AS president, given the importance of balancing relationships and shared governments, how do you view the role of students in relationship to staff, faculty, and the administration when making joint decision-making?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So if my Wi-Fi cuts out, My apologies, Zoom world. But I definitely believe that oftentimes in these spaces and being in these spaces, the student voice that we need to be heard isn't necessarily there. Like I mentioned previously, I definitely think that oftentimes those students that are marginalized or aren't necessarily part of the conversation or have difficulties joining the conversation aren't necessarily always there. And I definitely think that because we as students pay tuition and it's our campus and it's our university, everyone should be included and should have a representative in that space that will always move forward and try to advocate on behalf of them. As much as being AS president, you oversee all these 17,000 students. It is also, I think, very important to incorporate social justice reform in every space that we are in, because if it's not now, then when is it? I can't hear anything, and I think I'm cutting out. Can y'all hear me? Okay. I'll pass it on. Okay.
Thank you. So an important part of being an elected representative is working with the faculty, staff, and administration to get students' voices heard and get the student initiatives passed and put into action. So in terms of associated students, AS is for the students and wanting to ensure that their wants and needs are taken into action. And that's why gathering the student voice is really important, especially those marginalized students and people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds and maybe who don't have the same opportunities, chances, and privilege as other students, to ensure that their voices are also at the table. And then in terms of the university, it's super important that that we work with the faculty and staff and administration to make sure that their end decision includes the student voice and the student perspective, because that's what the goal is at the end of the day. So that sometimes will include us needing to work with them to ensure that those perspectives are seen and heard, and there's actual action taken, not just listened to or reiterated or echoed, but that we see physical change created. Thank you.
Yeah, so when it comes to working with faculty and staff and the administration, I really, just as a general rule, I like to look at people's hearts and understand why they do the things they do. That's one of the reasons I study economics, is understanding, are you making this decision because you dislike us, or you want to hurt us, or is it because you have a lot of other things on your plate? And so I think the communication goes both ways. We can tell them about all the issues we struggle with, but we also have to understand the administration and the faculty's issues, so that we can come to solve their problems while solving our own, without taking their perspective, because they have more power than us, because that's kind of how the system is designed to an extent. It hinders us to expect them to exclusively listen to our perspective. We have to work together on a joint plan to solve these issues. And a big part of that is getting more students involved, but also, having hearts with the administration, understanding where their struggles are and how they relate to ours, and showing them that, we are adults, we are professionals, and we understand, the balancing of powers as well as the balancing of responsibilities in the AS. So for me, it just comes down to better transparency and communications going in both directions, and then just really trusting that both sides are working together for the best solution.
Thank you all so much. Your second question comes from the YouTube Live. The Associated Student President is largely seen by the administration as the sole voice of the students in administrative spaces and university committees. How will you uplift your fellow AS officers?
Thank you. So I definitely believe that the way that the system set up and the institution of AS, officers have a certain space and privilege that they also can occupy to voice their opinions. But I definitely believe that it comes down to the president bringing them in and bringing them into these spaces and letting them stay up to date in terms of what's going on in the admin side as well, so that they can get involved in that decision making. Not only that, but like the other candidates have also said, communication is key, and we've seen that more than anything now being in this Zoom space. We're not in person. We don't get to see how everyone's doing. We don't get to communicate on the spot. So I definitely think that trying to reach out to these officers and attending their own meetings and their own councils and seeing where everyone else is at. That way we can collaborate as a group and move forward in order to advocate for the students as a whole. But then again, shared governance. So I'll pass it on. Is there another part of that question? Or is that it?
That's the whole question. Yeah, thank you.
All right. As the Associated Students President, that role is often seen a lot as being the voice of the students and as having that sole decision-making power. And I think it's important to make sure that the administration and the faculty and the staff and even the students understand that that role isn't your voice. It is supposed to be uplifting your voice and representing your voice to different bodies by giving power to you, not using an individual's words and then claiming that that is what the students want. And that is what I plan to do in office, is to ensure that everyone's voices are uplifted and empowered in what the initiatives and the goals and the wants and the needs of the students are. That's what I feel is important to do. And in that, with being AS president, there are also going to be other officers and a whole family and associated students that you're working with. And it's important to make sure that those other officers, commissioners, senators are also being able to do their role and have a voice and a seat at the table too, to help better represent the overall population of the students, because that is the goal here, to make sure that there is representation all around. I want to encourage and inspire all students to stand up for themselves. Thank you.
Yeah, so for me, I definitely agree with both Ella and Jenny in that, it's not the AS president's role to speak their own opinion. It's really our role to speak everyone's opinion and kind of work out what that is. And so for me, kind of coming from the student at large position, which is where I've spent the past 2.5 years, I understand the kind of coming from where the average student leader is, which is, we have something like 50 student appointees and 18 officers, but we only see the officers. So I'd really like to work on either a monthly or a semesterly basis, have kind of a student caucus, bring all of those leaders together, talk about what we want to do, talk about which committees we need to push those buttons in order to get it done. And then also invite activists and any student leaders to kind of join in that conversation, because it's really important. In my time working in a first year experience program, I understand that we have to meet students where they're at and not expect them to come to our office hours to speak to us, because students are very busy and preoccupied with schoolwork and homework and clubs and everything else in their life. So, if we can't find them where they're at, most people are not able to find us and reach out to us if they even know we exist. So the only way to get that communication and uplift the voice of the students is to meet them where they're at. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. And thank you to all the vice presidential and presidential candidates for presenting tonight. We do have one more candidate from the College of Agriculture. They were having trouble logging on to the Zoom earlier today, who I would like to let introduce themselves and give a statement for 30 seconds.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm the one that had technical difficulties. My name is Malia Tellis. I am a freshman at Chico State, and I am currently involved in the Flow program here at Chico State, the women's water polo team, and the collegiate FFA club that we have on campus. So I really want to run for the College of Agriculture senator, because I have such a huge passion for agriculture, and I've had such a huge passion for agriculture for so many years, and I really want to help the students succeed in the College of Agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have 2 questions for you. Okay. The first one is, what specifically are issues of concern in your college, and what would your strategies be for addressing those issues?
So my biggest concerns that I have for my college would be that when I also took part in the student learning fee committee this year. I saw that there was a lot of fundings for field trips that teachers are putting out, or just fundings for items we needed, like supplies on the farm and things that we needed. But there wasn't a lot of fundings raised by students. So I want to be able to make sure that students are aware that they can go ahead and nominate for or try to get a fund in through the student learning fee committee, and that they will be able to apply to get funds if they want to start a club, or if they have an idea that they want to kind of sprout a seed. I want to let them know, like, hey, we can help you get that idea going, so that idea of just one seed can kind of grow into a tree kind of deal. So yeah, I would really want to help inform them that the ideas that they have can be achieved, and I would love to help them get those ideas achieved and approved, so they have fundings for those ideas that they have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your second question is, how would you promote the concept of shared governance within your college?
So yeah, of course, I would really love to connect with all of the other senators and making sure that I'm getting all of their feedback on what's going on and within their colleges, and even everyone that I'm working in within AS, and making sure that everyone knows what's going on within each college, and maybe I can even bring their ideas closer and bring the colleges kind of together as one. Because I would love to think that here at Chico State, we see everyone as equal and as family. We work together to rise each other up to do our best.
Thank you so much. And with that, that is the conclusion of all our candidates. I want to say thank you to everybody who was running. It is so honorable. That's such a tough job, and you all spoke so well. And thank you to everybody in the audience who participated. I think we ended up having a really good event. One event I do want to shout out is the food extravaganza that we are having tomorrow from 11 to 1. You are encouraged to go. In front of the BMU, you can pick up some free food, meet some of the AS staff who are lovely people. And don't forget to vote. Voting opens at 8 a.m. tomorrow, April 7th, and goes through 8 a.m. tomorrow. The following day, on Thursday, until 8 a.m. as well. So thank you so much. Have a good rest of your night.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night. Good luck tomorrow.
Good job, everyone.
Thank you, you too.